Phone lines this morning, Yellowstone County Sheriff Mike Linder. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Scott.
Going to play a little clip on how the press conference started off yesterday.
The purpose of this press conference is to bring our entire community up to date as to the status of the Miranda Fenner homicide investigation. As you're all aware, on November 15th, 1998, Miranda Fenner was murdered while she worked her shift at the movie store in Laurel, Montana. Miranda was 18 years old at the time. For many years, the members of the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office and Laurel Police Department conducted a joint investigation in an effort to solve the case.
So what was going through your mind at that time? You were kind of emotional, and one of the reporters said, Sheriff, why are you emotional? Well, explain that, and then let's get into the case, sir.
Well, I'm not too sure I can explain it. It's like I think to myself, I've been out to some pretty gruesome scenes, and the emotions don't come out. And then when we get to something like this, where there's some finality, maybe some closure for a family, or even thinking about my own family, how I might feel. And I'm thinking about all of that at the same time. So it's just, it's hard to even understand or think about what I'm saying at the time. But that just seems to be how it works with me.
Let's go back 21 years and follow through on the case a little bit, sir.
Okay, well, as everybody knows, the homicide was a very big deal in our community, especially in Laurel. And some of the people that were out at the scene from the sheriff's office, along with Laurel Police Department, all worked together on that case. And throughout the years, with really no real good suspects. I mean, we had some suspects, but the evidence wasn't there to really pursue. But every time we got a new name, we had to follow up on it. And when things kind of came and got stale, probably about 2008, 2009, maybe a little bit before that, they still would go back and look at these cases, and especially this one, our detectives. And then when we started the cold case unit in 2012, that's when we decided that we really needed to dig into this case along with the others that we've been working on. And our detective division and our cold case people, this was kind of a goal for them, or a priority for them, is to find out what we might have missed, or was there other evidence. Obviously, as in the Bernhardt homicide, we had DNA, but we couldn't do anything with that for many, many years, and so we had to look at the technology that we had now, and would that work in the Miranda Fenner homicide investigation as well. And when we started looking at some of the evidence, I'm not too sure. There still might not be some at the labs that we'd sent off before. I haven't heard yet if all of that stuff has come back. But when there wasn't the, the biological or the scientific evidence that we were hoping for, we had to look at other ways. And when the suspect came forward the first time, and again, I think I mentioned that he was actually interviewed back in 2000, so he was on the radar back then, but he led us in a different direction, giving us the names of people that were involved, and obviously that takes a lot of time to follow up on all of that, because the names that he gave us, they were quite credible suspects, with their history and stuff. So after they... in 2017, when we had another contact with them, deputies actually spoke to him down at the jail, and we had to have some sort of corroboration with the information that he gave us, and that's where our detective and our detectives came in. They were the ones that followed up on all that information. They made a few contacts with Mr. O'Neill. And just basically putting all the puzzle pieces back together, they were able to determine that, he was the likely suspect. So that's when the county attorney's office was really brought into the picture, talking to the defense attorneys, making, whatever contacts they needed to. And it just all came together. So this, being the outcome.
This case goes back 21 years. I was watching Q2, and they talked to some folks in the Laurel area, and I was talking with Casey Paul, who does Mornings on the Planet, and he was with his kid a couple of weeks ago at a bakery or something, I think Jan's IGA over in Laurel, and they still had the picture up there, any information and everything. This brings a great deal of closure, just not to the family, but also the town of Laurel.
Oh, absolutely. I go into Laurel quite often, whether it be for some groceries or whether it be for, picking up parts or pieces and stuff like that. And so I spend quite a bit of time there. And every place you go into had one of these reward signs in there. And, Ricky's over there, I'll stop and get gas, or Reese and Ray's, just the different places. And they all have these signs. And I kind of wonder now what it's going to be like to go into town. Are these signs coming down? Are they going to stay there just for, the support, or what's going to happen? But I saw the same news coverage, and I'm just not sure what's going to happen. But I do know that. Or I hope that people in Laurel slept just a little bit better last night.
Ever since this cold case unit was established, they've been working really hard. What does it feel like to have two big cases basically closed within a 3-month period?
It's really hard to explain. There's, we talk about emotions. It's dealing with those families that have had to wait for so long. When you think about 45 years for the Bernhardt, 20 years or 21 years for the Fenner family and stuff, that's a lot of time, and a lot of family members that have to think about this probably every day and wonder when something's going to happen or when we're going to solve these crimes. And we still have some of these crimes out there that we're looking at.